Hey everybody, and welcome to the Voice of the Show number 26, where we're discussing the dwarves. I have Lexer here with me today, but obviously he's not on camera.
I'm not that important.
Come on, camera. We got a camera difficulty. All right. Let's see if I can get
The
him on the
regularly
camera.
scheduled Twitch issue.
Yeah, I tell you, man, Twitch is always a fun one. There we go. All right, we got you back on the camera here. So, hi everybody. And we're going to be talking about the dwarves today, and it's be obviously some speculating and brainstorming, all that fun stuff. Yeah, those tech issues, I tell you, it's just Skype and all that other garbage that we have to deal with, but we'll try to work around that stuff. So, dwarves, are you excited about talking about? Oh, and before I get ahead of myself, don't let me forget, because see, tech issues can to distract you a little bit. We have Kodiak in the background. Say hi, Kodiak.
Good afternoon.
So, we're going to be talking about the dwarves. So, Lexer, are you excited about dwarves?
They're not usually my race of choice, but they've always been very interesting in every MMO that I've played. They've been very close to each other from game to game, with very slight variances, but still, I mean, I'm interested to see where they're going to go.
Cool. Yeah, me too. I find them very interesting as well. Kodiak, what do you think?
They're definitely a classic race, so I think that they should stay traditional, maybe with a little new twist, but still stay traditional with them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, from the lore, and I'll go ahead and I'll pop over to the lore slide real quick, and we'll bring that up here so everybody can take a look at that too. And from what it looks like, just reading through some of the lore, it sounds like they've kind of grabbed part of the southern part of the continent to try to survive or something like that, huh? And they're in the snow. They almost kind of remind me of the Coldane dwarves from EverQuest. I mean, is that kind of your
Yep.
take?
Oh yeah, I mean, they really come off that way simply because if you look at the lore or the race lore page for the dwarves on PantheonMMO.com, then if you were to look at the old school Coldane dwarves from EverQuest's Scars of Velius expansion, it's almost identical. The pale bluish skin, they got the heavy cloaks and everything, and even the lore. It doesn't necessarily scream Coldane, but once I saw that tundra, but how they live in the tundra, I was just like, Coldane.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
great divide.
Yep,
Yep.
definitely.
And they were always a very beloved NPC race because I was kind of upset that they never made them a playable race in EverQuest simply because you know kind of like a one-off of your traditional classic character. Where you can obviously just do some very minor things to it that make it feel unique. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I enjoy the look of the dwarves in this one so far over
Okay.
just a typical
They're not.
what you would normally see.
Yeah, kind of like your. They're not like your tabletop almost right off the bat as far as the clothing looks, but close, but not quite. Because obviously it sounds like they're taking place in the winter. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and bring up that lore slide again, and I'll kind of read a little bit to kind of give some more discussion stuff here, and we'll do the discussion questions. But forgive me, folks, if I hack this thing up and mispronunciate things. These are pre-alpha pronunciations. All right. So, going on with the dwarves. For the good of his people, the dwarven king, looks like Kazas, sacrificed his mortality to rule among them in the wintry fortress of, I say, Kadasa? This selflessness is a crown of virtue of the dwarven race, and to have one as a friend is worth more than several lifetimes of fortune. Believing in peace is a product of strength. The dwarves seek not an empire, but to increase their mastery in the smithing, the arcane, as well as battle. Their compact form is rarely mistaken for lumbering stiffness, and their reputation in all types of conflict is widely established. Of their tale, few races can so intimately trace history back to the moment of their creation. Yet so few gods were like Kazas of the old Dasa and who so few races who show the fealty of the dwarves, for a lone celestial to bring forth a new race is not unheard of. Even among those now on Terminus, such ancestry exists in some number. But no other creation has remained so united with their creator as the dwarves are to their king. And no other celestial has so stewarded their creation as he, forsaking even his own immortality to lead them as their king. In the very beginning, it was Kazas who brought together what the dwarves call the balanced pair. This would become the seed of the dwarven people. In one hand he held a fragment of stone from the heart of the cold dark peak, the mountain he himself shaped to be the throne of the, looks like Triumvirate. In the other hand he held a shard of ice of Raifel, which she gave joyfully to him, willing him to add its life to the dwarven people. Locke, Ahen, and Hammer were all present, giving their approval. With perfect balance and pressure, Kazas pressed the cold dark's fragment and the ice of Raifel into each other until the renaissance and power created by the fusion shook Oldasa's oldest foundations. Then in a moment the first dwarves opened their eyes to see the dwarven father. My children. Of all of Pantheon, only Kazas lingered there with them. He stayed with the dwarves for many days, teaching them to care for themselves, warning them of Oldasa's deep winters, and speaking freely with them. But there existed an old great rift in Triumvirate. I can't get that one, sorry guys. I'm hacking stuff up here. Of three, the ruling pantheon of dwarves, Ryzak called the rageful, longed to vie against Kaza, and though order was ever preserved under the care of Locke and Hamor, these three were endowed with neutrality and upheld the edict of balance which forbade any contest within Pantheon, neither good destroying evil or evil destroying good. Under this decree, Kazas forged the dwarves and blessed them with much of his own character, fashioning their frames with deep strength and their minds with keen perception. Thus throughout Oldasa the dwarves flourished, and there were no rivals alongside them. But Razak's jealousy attended their triumph like a shadow, ever frustrated when seeking to twist them against Kaza, and his hate aged unquenchable. Of the many new inhabitants of Terminus, it is believed that the dwarves were the first to arrive during the Age of Isolation. They quickly established a foothold in the southern tundra, naming the area Kadasa, meaning Kazas Reach, after their king in the same manner he had originally formed the dwarves. Kazas taught them how to perfectly fuse ice and stone, creating a peerless material in strength and beauty known as cold dark steel, unbreakable yet able to be cut through thin enough to wear as fabric. With it they built their magnificent Oldasan citadel in the heart of Kadasha. From the beacon, their legacy as champions, mystics, artisans, storytellers, and unfailing companions has flourished unabated by the storms of change that roll across the planet. Yet there dwells a hidden terror in their story, one whom even Kazat himself would not dare approach. Ooh, kind of sounds a little spooky there. So,
Yeah.
alright, I hacked that sucker up, pre-alpha pronunciation and all that.
Yep,
A little
that's
blindness,
fine.
I should have worn my glasses, but hey, I pushed through.
No worries. No worries. I don't English very well myself, so. But it's a very interesting bit of lore, because it's not your typical dwarven, they're of the mountain, and they're just warriors that like to do stuff with metal and mine a lot.
And drink
I
beer.
mean, it does hint very hard towards that, but they're not blatantly just coming out and be like, yeah, they're miners, they're dwarves, woo!
True.
It actually almost sounds to me like there could be int casters because of the arcane mention, although I do have a strong feeling that the mention of arcane is more of a general term.
Cool.
Another thing would be where they mention with the dark steel, how they can make cloth out of it, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That's really neat. I've never heard of anything even close to that, so it's almost like you can make
mithril,
cloth
right?
metal armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's usually always mithril.
Yeah, and it's always a mithril or something like that. But this makes it seem like it could be like a cultural specific craft, which I think is neat as all get out. So
Yeah,
it's nice to see a little twist on a classic idea,
yep.
but they're not going so far as to be like, we don't even, you see dwarves, but we see this.
Yeah, true.
So it's familiar. There are twists on it. I can't wait to see what kind of classes they can play, what kind of, if there are racial bonuses in the game, what kind of racial bonuses we will see. Because I'm going to say dwarves to me have always been like a constitution or stamina, whichever you prefer,
Mm-hmm.
and wisdom bonus race. It makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see something a little different for once.
Cool. Yeah. All right, Kodiak. What's your take on that? Just reading through some of the lore and stuff.
Well, I mean, like I said, I like the new take on it rather than the classic, like you said, minor type dwarf that they're basically, more ice or different elements to them. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more in depth to it.
Okay, they're not as like kind of like portrayed as greedy, wanting gold all the time and mithril, but more of a different approach to the dwarven culture.
Yeah, I mean, they even almost come off as a neutral race, whereas in almost every other game, they've been considered a good race.
Yeah, they
So
yeah
Maybe
although
kind of
it's
more
not,
like a barbarian too.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know, uh, it's not a big step in a new direction, but it's still a step that someone else hasn't taken 500 times.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a little bit of a twist on the original dwarf idea, is what I'm kind of seeing. So it is kind of taking a new approach, giving you a different lore story and putting him somewhere different in the world. But at the same time, it's also kind of mimicking the EverQuest Coldane dwarves there in the Great Divide, which is really neat because, like you said, when we were talking earlier, I loved to have seen that as a race in EverQuest was the Coldane dwarves. Something completely different than your standard dwarf. So this is kind of maybe that take. Maybe they decided to kind of approach it with that because I kind of like the idea behind the doors being wintry. It sounds like maybe even their building structures could be built of snow and ice as well, and it'd be like clear, like Icewell Keep and EverQuest. You had the clear
Yeah.
ice and all that stuff, and crystalline
Oh, yeah.
caverns
I mean,
nearby.
those of you that are familiar with EverQuest can't think of an EverQuest 2 zone that was like it, but there were an awful lot of zones in Velius where you would have bridges and walkways and doors and stuff made out of ice. They were like, partially transparent and had a neat little glow effect to them almost. And I know it may not seem like a huge difference over just like, you walk in and there's a wooden door inside of a cave,
Hmm.
traditionally see, but having no around, having some ice mixed in with stone and maybe some wood, it's a nice little twist if they pull it off well. And their art team has pretty much earned my complete respect. So I have no doubt that if they go that route, they'll be able to pull it off.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dark Soul Omega said, yeah, Dwarven Ice Cities. That would be cool. It would. It'd be a whole different twist now. You're not seeing the big thick stone, carved granite rocks, and molten lava everywhere. But this is a whole different twist now. Now you got probably ice cold water, frozen lakes, sheets of
Yep.
ice. It's just
You could technically even have like an ice or a primarily ice city built into the side of a mountain.
that too.
Because I mean, they're
Yes.
dwarfs; they are still technically of the earth, so of course they're
Hmm.
going to mine a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and they mine
yeah,
deep too. So the deeper the city, that's where you're going to end up with your lava and your forges and all
yeah,
that stuff in the very bottom. You know,
And that could be part of
mm,
the dark story that we don't know about.
yeah. I mean, I know I say this a lot. Even I sit there and go, God, I remember saying this about this race, but there is so many possibilities they can take here. I
Hmm.
mean, you go to the surface, you've got ice, you could have like tundra yetis and all these other Arctic style creatures. You go in the city and things are made out of ice with a little bit of stone. Everything's covered with snow. You go inside the mountain and it's very just stone and rocky. You go deeper into the mountain and all of a sudden you've got lava, and
Hmm.
all this other stuff. So you've got a full gambit here of just environmental things you can do.
oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, and with some of the environmental art that we've seen already, just just imagine where they could take this. This would be really, really cool. I mean, because I like the awe-inspiring, suck you in, immerse you into even in the environment. When the environment can grab you, and the way they're going with the environment's actually putting towers in the distance or features to draw you to that point for your adventure. Just think of the things you could do just in this ice city, even, just the things
Oh
that they
yeah.
could draw you into. It'd just be just totally wicked.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the one thing that's going to be the hardest thing to pull off with me as a player
Hmm.
is going to be have me go into an environmental area and get sidetracked because of something I'm visually seeing here. Not a quest, not, some Easter egg kind of thing. Just like walk into a mountain, go down a hallway, things start changing a little bit, and all of a sudden, like river of lava, I'll be like, oh my god, I need to follow this.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
stuff
of
like that.
course,
Or
you know
ice
me.
river.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna jump in that lava to see if it hurts.
Yeah, you're gonna jump into it, or you're gonna follow it to wherever it goes, whether it's source or the end of it. You might even
Yeah,
completely distract you.
right. Not to
So.
get too sidetracked though, I did promise last week that I would do it with the VOT store lemon shots early. How
Oh
many do
yes,
I owe?
that's right. Oh goodness, are you ready for this?
Yeah,
4,
4.
4.
Okay. Well, as you all know, every order, or sorry, it's every item that
Yep,
is ordered,
yep. Every
I
item
will
is
do one
ordered.
lemon shot. So here's one.
Bottoms up, buddy.
Ugh. I
Awesome.
can take it. There's 2.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys' support. To the store. So as Lexer is drinking his shots, please visit www.votstore.com if you want to buy some of these awesome shirts. This is the Voice of Terminus. Your adventure awaits. It's awesome. Very decent quality. Everybody who's gotten their shirts, very impressed by it. I'm impressed when I first got them in. They are very nice. So they're full color shirt. Awesome. You did it.
Oh God!
You did it,
Doesn't help
man.
that I have chapped lips, so that really stings.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Punishment.
One thing that I will say about the store, I'm very, 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 very picky about stuff that I get. I mean, if it's not good quality, it doesn't matter because I was born without a filter. I will say that it has crap quality. This is probably the single best fitting shirt I've ever had.
And
And the mugs,
they are Gildan
the
shirts too.
mugs, I love the two-tone. It looks great. It's hard to see on the web. It looks freaking awesome. They're a lot sturdier than I thought. There was an issue earlier on with them, the logo rubbing off, but I mean, this thing's been washed several times and it's still
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, I
yeah,
think they were just damaged in shipping or something like that. So, but they
it's
replaced
possible.
them.
I mean, there's 100 different variables. Who knows?
Yeah, but yeah, they're great quality, folks. That's why we say go to the store. By you purchasing it helps us. It basically right now your purchases are helping maintain the store running. Um, Really, the profits are very small, and if we do make any profits, they're going to go to Visionary Realms when we purchase like game giveaways and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
whatever you're
Biggest
purchasing,
thing,
that's what's
yeah, the
going to
biggest thing to
happen.
remember is that the store isn't for us.
Nope, it's
It's,
for
it's
you
to pay for
guys.
like web hosting,
Yep.
to pay for doing stuff for giveaways and such.
So
We're
and
not
stuff like
making any money. We
this.
don't plan to make any money.
Yep. We're not trying to
So,
make money. So
so
it's keeping us running right now. Our store costs us $29 a month to run. So
yeah,
so far I'm maintaining the overheads at the moment, so it's good. So far on track. So
yeah. But let's get back on track.
yes, so the shots are over. But like I said, please visit the store. Got some good gear on there. Eventually we'll have some more of the class mugs, but right now we got our starter sets out there. So the more you order, the more I can go ahead and purchase your class mug if it's not there. Pre-order it. Please pre-order it and I can get it started. So, but
Dire
anyways,
Lords are the best.
yes. All right, so moving on. So back to our dwarves. Yeah, so there is going to be a new take, it looks like, with this path with the dwarves. I really like it. I think this is a great start. It doesn't start you in a rocky mountain out in the middle of a green forest or anything like that. It's actually starting in the cold tundra. So, and with the atmospheric and climate effects, being a newbie dwarf, you might need to get some warm clothes to start with. You know, so that's definitely a good starter. A dwarven dire lord.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
this is another race where every now and then when I play a game, sometimes I feel like I want that classic feel, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then that's when I do a human, or I'll do just your standard elf, or I'll do a dwarf. I can tell you right now that if I get that urge to do a classic character, it's gonna be a dwarf,
Yeah.
just because of the little twists. It's classic, but it's classic Pantheon, not just classic overall.
True. True. Kodiak, what's your take? What's your take, man? Throw some insight. You're quiet.
Well, actually, I was trying
Guys,
to
we'll
find. The city of where it says the Cossack Reach or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they. And I was looking at the map, the atlas, but I can't find that on there. So I'm assuming it's going to be north of Thronefest, where maybe that little island of ice patch is, because there's no icy areas on this map at all.
Yeah,
Right.
that could be secretly waiting to unveil that stuff to us yet too. So
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's
mm-hmm.
good to keep some things back, because then
Private.
you'd
There
be
could
like,
be a
hey, by
whole
the way, guys, look at
yeah,
this.
there could be a whole nother continent under the two main continents that we see. We just don't know.
Well, it'd have to be north. It's ice.
Or north. Yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
south and north.
Oh, could be south. Yeah.
Yep.
What I really can't wait for is to actually see, excuse me, the lemons fighting back. I cannot wait to see some of the environmental
Yes.
screenshots of the actual capital cities, or the racial capital cities.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yeah, my very first character back in 2000 when I started EQ1 was a little dwarf paladin. That was my go-to.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, they were pretty good. We had a guy named Serganistan from EverQuest and for my guild, and he was our tank. He was our dwarven tank, so he did a pretty good job. They actually pack a little bit of a punch, being a dwarf. So.
Oh yeah, one of the nice things, well, at least back from drawing from my EverQuest
Mm-hmm.
raiding days, dwarfs never needed to be shrunk, because in a raid situation, you wanted your melee guys down so that your people in the back can see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone loved the dwarfs. It's like, hey, look, I don't got to shrink them; they're already the right size.
Yep.
But then you shrink them anyway, because then it's like, look, it's a pocket dwarf.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. True. Okay, so I got some questions up here on the screen, and these were asked in the forum. So these are questions in the dwarf race section. So I went ahead and posted them on here to kind of talk about it, because these are people who are speculating as well. So like the rest of us, we're all kind of out there speculating. But the first one was, how small should dwarves and other short races' doors and rooms be? So,
One thing that I did like in EverQuest is that if you played an ogre, you had to duck to get into certain rooms. I think they should make that. They should implement that.
so kind of keep the realism thing.
Yeah.
That does, to a point, add to immersion. The only thing I'd like to add to that is that if it's done, please, please, please work on having a very smooth auto duck system and auto stand system.
Mm.
Nothing was more annoying in EverQuest than the auto duck system, where you come
Get stuck.
close to a door, you duck, then you get stuck on the side, and then you go inside and you're still crawling around, and then you just decide to randomly
You're
pop
duck
up
walking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're duck walking. Yeah. I was reading some stories too when people have gotten their butts pounded to death because they were stuck in the duck mode, getting beaten
But
in the door.
I just feel there's no reason for a dwarven city to have massive doors if they're accommodating
Right.
dwarfs.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Like maybe
the whole
your main
whole
halls.
feel and the whole ambiance should be catered towards dwarfs.
I
Right.
agree, and then maybe like
Not
your
to everybody.
yeah, maybe like your capital city or the way to your main capital should be large enough for all the other races to travel. But if you go off to the sides in the city, that's where you have to accommodate to their doors and their size,
Right.
perhaps.
The only exception I would like to see to that is say, just as a complete random example, you've got halflings that live very close to the human.
Mm-hmm.
So because you've got what could potentially be very close communications, there would be a lot of, or a good chance that the halflings would accommodate humans.
Yeah, but that's
Not
what. Okay, so
necessarily the
like
large
your
ones.
town halls, your markets, your your public areas. Yes, I could see
Yeah,
them being large enough to accommodate everybody, but not
Mm.
their housing district. Their housing districts only halflings live there, only dwarfs live there, only humans live there. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Only ogres
Oh,
live
yeah,
in the ogres house district. So why should it
right,
accommodate other races?
Yeah.
right. Especially with residential areas, absolutely.
Mm.
When it comes to like your main hall, if they're close to, we'll call a normal sized race and they are a small race, I could see them accommodating the normal sized race, but I wouldn't see them accommodating like an ogre, who is
Mm.
the
Right.
largest race, because they don't have any interactions with them in a lore aspect.
Yeah. True.
Or even up on one continent where the larger races exist, the ogres, the the big elemental dudes, whatever. Maybe their openings are bigger than the ones where the normal and smaller races are.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and true. The other thing too you got to remember is they can also make shrinking potions. So that's another reason to craft certain things too. So you can actually visit some of these cities where you have to be small.
You have to become a brownie so you can
Yep.
go into the brownie city and loot something.
Exactly. Or was it the
Yeah,
Alice in
illusions and
Wonderland sort of
such.
thing? In EverQuest, where was that place where you had to
Yeah.
shrink down to actually go through it? I can't remember what was it. Plane of Mischief, I think it was, wasn't it? Where it was like
I quit
almost like
playing
Alice in
before that.
Wonderland. Okay. Um, yeah, I think it was like the Plane of Mischief or something like that, where everything was shrunk down. It looked like Alice in Wonderland. You had to drink a small potion to shrink down and be able to go through this entire zone. It was nuts.
Nice,
So,
nice.
but yeah, so it'd be kind of cool. So yeah, that would give a reason for potions. But yeah, I think like your capital cities or maybe some of your public markets are adapted to your larger races. But however, as you go further out in the city to the more dwarven populated areas and away from the city capital, that's where it gets to the size of dwarfs. So where if you want to venture
Yeah,
in those areas, you're gonna have to shrink down and accommodate, to them.
yeah, and
So,
Yeah,
that would
I
make
mean it only
perfect
makes
sense.
sense.
yeah, that's
Especially if they're trading with other races, those main cities or those main uh, points of interest,
hmm
like the market or the church or the tavern, like those are going to accommodate the everybody, but everything else is going to be accommodated just for that particular race.
yeah,
Right.
true, cool.
Yeah. Now, I think I would much rather see that. As much as there are going to be times where I rage at the fact that I have to duck to go into a home for a quest or something. In the end, it's only raging because with my immersion, I would end up smacking my head on that door and be like, so
Well, I like
although I'm raging in real life, it actually adds to the immersion because I would be raging if I was in the
yeah,
game.
you would hit your head, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Um, moving along, okay, to number two, which kind of brings up that would it make sense if they made everything to scale? So I think we all can agree that making things to scale, the zones and areas should be almost close to scale, but as far as the races are concerned, I could see that. But some of the environments they might have to make a little larger to accommodate maybe some of the larger NPCs, like dragons, for instance, a good example, where they might have to make it just slightly bigger than normal scale to be able to actually work in a computer game. As much as we all
right.
like
Well,
realism,
it's
sometimes you gotta adapt to realism.
um, in most games, like if you were to go into for a grouping or whatever into like a giant fortress, the tables are gigantic, the chairs are gigantic. And that makes perfect sense because you're in a giant city.
Yeah,
Now, you don't go into a city full of giants and then have chairs that accommodate
dark
gnomes.
elves or
No, it
gnomes.
just doesn't make any sense.
No, don't. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So yeah, I think everything should be set to a scale that they can do as far as environmentally sound
Yeah,
and gameplay mechanic wise. I
yeah,
agree.
and to go on something I've said in an earlier show, like having props in the world that are useless annoys me.
Mm,
I'm perfectly fine being a Scar, considered a large race. That if I try to sit in a chair made for a dwarf in a dwarven city, it tells me I can't fit in that. Makes sense to me. Okay, I'll go find a bigger chair.
yeah, true. True, true.
It's like using the bathroom at a preschool.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
your knees are up to your chin, you're squished in like this.
That's right. Or the urinal's really small and it's low to the floor.
Yeah.
Like,
You got to
whoa.
get on your knees.
Yeah. Be like or 5 years old again, 6 years old. Okay. So yeah, number two, we've already discussed that, so we'll go move along. Should dwarves be like other fantasy MMOs?
Well, again, this is just going back to their classic, but they've got a Pantheon twist to it, so where you're very familiar with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's reason to sit there and go, this is different. But do I want it to be like every other fantasy MMO? No.
Mm-mm.
Because we're still going to have one or maybe even two races that are going to be like strictly classic, like humans are classic. Humans are
Yes.
humans are humans are humans.
Yep. They are the classic.
No way
race.
around it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like, to be honest, most elves are elves. They're almost always stuck up and, all hoity-toity. And chances are it's what we're going to see again.
Yeah.
The only difference being from game to game is some live in cities, some live in the forest. Oh, which way do they go? But this, because I think we touched on it in an earlier show, is kind of a mixture. So again, classic, with a twist. I just don't want to see same old, I'm a dwarf with my beard down to my toes and I mine inside the mountain.
Yeah, same.
And I drink dwarven ale.
And I do everything with mithril.
Yep, everything with mithril. Everything's mithril. Every dwarf, I think, in every game, it's always been mithril. So this is a whole different twist, I think. So I really like the lore of this and where this is going. So,
yeah.
Kodiak, anything else you would like to add to that?
No, same thing. I mean, like I said, dwarves have been around forever, so keeping it familiar but with a twist, that's awesome, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I know it doesn't seem like there's enough to really warrant the amount of interest with that little bit of twist to it. But think of it like this. If you twist everything just a little bit, that all amounts to one big twist. So you walk into a dwarven city, you're walking into a dwarven city, but things are a little different than you expect. So you're interested. It's going to be the same with every
but see,
race.
the twist for that race could be awesome because, okay, so if they're snow, right, or whatever, ice, then maybe they have, because we're against the elements, maybe they have a more tolerance to the weather, cold weather, stuff like that, where a Scar who lives in the desert has the opposite effect. They're more adaptable to hot weather and vice versa. So there could be a lot more things to it than just the race itself when you add in perception and environment and all those other little things to it, which I think is going to make it awesome.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because like the atmospheric and climate systems, and we don't want to forget those because these are going to be new twists to an MMO. Because I don't think there's any MMO out there that's actually done this on a large scale. It's all been like Ark and some of the other ones that are coming out, the survival games. It's all one shard, but this is going to be an open world where you go in, you're playing with other players who are going to be affected by the cold, who are going to be affected by the heat. So it's not just you, it's them too. So now you're going to have to work together to overcome those obstacles. So this is a whole new twist to the MMO genre itself. So you're going to be penalized, being in these atmospherics or these environments, these climates. You're going to have to adapt to them. Your playstyle has to adapt. So I can't see people going, well, that's not cool. That's nothing new. But yeah, it is. In an MMO setting with a 6-man group, it is a different setting because you're only playing sole survivor games like, H1Z1 or like I said, Ark. It's just you, and you might be playing with some other players, running into them every once in a while, but you're actually having to survive as a group together and overcome the tactical challenges and actually work and strategize. It's not going to just be something really quick, simple, bang it over the head and kill it. You're going to have to work along, the environment, your weapons.
Yeah, they just might burn through their endurance a lot faster in hot weather or something like that.
Exactly. I mean, there's just so much different combat here that people say, well, it's like Ark. It's like, no, it's not. It's not quite that way because when you're talking EverQuest, MMO, everybody knew their spot and their position. Everybody had their unique abilities. Now, on top of that, add the environment that you're going to have to adapt to. Now, on top of that, add the fact that your sword might not be effective against this rock. You're going to have to use a club. Your dagger's not going to be effective against a skeleton. Now you got the cold climate, the hot, the wind, the rain, whatever the environment you're fighting in is going to affect your total outcome. So
your situational gear, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So your entire situation's changed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of survival games. I play them all if I can. If I can get my hands on it, I play it. Now, we'll use Ark as an example. You get cold, you need to get warm. That's the end of it. Just you're cold, warm. Done, taken care of. You put on more clothes, you will still get cold, just slower. With Pantheon and their environmental system, it's not quite that easy. It's well, if you're a cold-based dwarf, right, where you thrive in cold. Well, you go to the desert, you're not used to it. All lore points to you should not be having a good time here.
Exactly.
So
Bingo.
now all of a sudden everything becomes a little more difficult for you. Not amazingly so, but just a little bit harder. And where you're like, wow, this desert sucks.
Yep. And your group mates have to help you deal with that too.
Yeah, you need to rely on them because maybe all of a sudden you've got a Scar in the group, he thrives in the desert. So in the end, you're still the entire, we'll say just power of your group is still equal because he's better in the heat or worse in the heat. So in the end, you're equal, but you have to rely on him to pick up a little bit of slack. Not a lot. We're not saying like, oh God, I can do 2 abilities and then all of a sudden my endurance is gone. We're talking like, maybe there's a 2 to 5% increase on the cost, which could equal 2 or 3 less triggers of your ability. Maybe.
It also could be like when they were talking about vision and because they live underground, they're in like a Alaskan type environment where it's dark 22 hours a day. Maybe they have improved vision,
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're not going to need torches because they can go through the just fine and see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, because they are in they're in the cold south in the dark continent somewhere.
Yeah. And like, unlike survival games where it's just, here's an obstacle, you overcome it. This is more a case of, here's a benefit, but comes with the opposite spectrum penalty. So it's like saying you're good in the daytime, but you're bad at nighttime. You're still equal in the grand scheme of things because, there's just as much night or day as there is night. But it's just saying that during this time, you are slightly better than everybody else. So you have to try and pick up the slack, but that's because in this other opposite situation, they need to pick up slack for you.
Yeah, it's just like in EQ1 when I played my little dwarf paladin. The reason I ran the Miskmore Eldon over and over and over again was because I kicked its ass because I was a paladin and it was all undead stuff. It's the same thing, I'm not going to go do one where I'm, anyways, you get the point.
Right. I do. And that's just like we've been saying all along. With Pantheon, we're going to be, here's a benefit, but it's not just going to be, here's just straight benefits.
Yep. It's going to be pros and cons to both. You're going to have your good and your bad.
And I would be shocked and amazed if it didn't go to the point of, here's a benefit for your class, but here's their drawback. Here's a benefit for your race, but here's a drawback. So you're still saying you are really good in these situations, but the exact opposite situation, you're not that great. You're not.
No, the
popped off at the knees. You're just not that great.
Is there's going to end up being cookie cutter things, but I think that they should be able to offset those with like either AUGs or gear or or AAs or however they do that, so that way you can get. So yes, the first 30 levels are going to suck, but once you get into the older stuff, when you have better gear and you have AAs and better attributes, stuff like that, it probably will become a non-factor, hopefully.
Like Dark Soul Omega said, like an example would be like improved night vision, possibly having to wear a covering to shield from the sun's brightness. speaking about
Yeah.
the dwarves being in the cold there and in the darkness, because technically when you go south or to Alaska during the wintertime, you get about 4 hours of daylight, and the rest of the time is it's pitch dark. So being living there myself, that's the way it is. It gets dark. So
It gets hard to adapt
hmm
to.
it is. It's
But
rough.
it's not to say that through character progression, because I know Pantheon is really trying to focus hard on horizontal progression. Basically, just means like filling out the edges of your character instead of just giving you levels.
Yeah.
Right. That's all that really means. Making your character a little more full and well-rounded versus, hey, here's another level. You're better at everything. Um, Not to say you can't overcome your weaknesses, because that's part of the journey of your character is overcoming your own weaknesses and your own shortcomings.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
you know you're taking
That's
a
what
hit
makes
in
things
this thing or in
exciting.
that thing, but as you grow with your character, you can overcome those negatives by either equipment
Yeah.
or augs or doing a
Or by
quest
your
or
group.
learning something from some wise old ancient guy or something.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got quests, you've got whatever type of, I'm going to just say extra progression they decide to do, we'll say WoW's talent trees or EverQuest's AAs kind of idea. You can still not necessarily negate your shortcomings, but you can just make them a little easier on you. But in the end, it still comes up to your group to be well-rounded and make up for everyone's shortcomings. Kind of like if you and five strangers trying to build a house. Well, he's a carpenter. Well, and he obviously doesn't know that much about plumbing, but this guy's a plumber. So you can help him.
Yep.
You can just help each other out, and eventually you overcome this big challenge.
True. And that's why I think people forget too. Sometimes they get wrapped around the axle of small things when they need to think big picture, how far you can actually take this out of that spectrum and find gear to actually help improve your con. Because you got a lot of pros, but you might also have a lot of cons. But that's where the game gets fun, is because you can actually venture out and fix that con by finding a new piece of gear, a new weapon, a new potion, whatever it may be that they decide to go on. There's a way to always overcome your odd, your obstacle.
Yeah,
Oh.
So
right. In
Right, yeah,
the end,
exactly.
what it all
What
comes
you would use in one situation as a dwarf is going to be different than what an ogre is going to use in a different situation. And that's what keeps, especially with crafting. And if, as long as everything's consumable, then it's going to keep the market flowing and and stuff like that.
true.
right. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, in the end, what makes a game fun? The game where you are challenged.
Yep.
Not to the point where you get frustrated, but to a point where you're like, you overcome something, you're just like, yeah. It's like, it took me a week to figure out how to do this, and I finally did it. Yes. You will look back 10 years from that point and go, that was a great time.
Yeah.
That
And
was a wonderful thing. Remember your group members. Remember how, you know, Lexer died trying to tank this thing, and then
fell off a
Auxilian
cliff,
comes in and
pushed you off a
picked it
cliff.
up, and still barely won by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah. Well, iGouge says, makes me wonder how big the spell books will be to help overcome the shortcomings. I think everything should be addressed with a spell. It's more about gear, spells,
Yeah, it's gonna be a
items.
combination of everything.
Yes, just
and you think
everything.
when you look at the Living Codex, right?
Mhm.
Because now we're talking about the Pantheon difference, because you can change out the seals or the brands or the signets. You know what I'm saying? So you can basically change the effect of that spell.
Exactly.
So
that is just. I don't know. I think it's gonna be gear too. I mean, just gear wise. I mean, everything you can imagine. Just think, there's other ways you're gonna be able to overcome your obstacle. That's how you got to look at it. It's not always just the spells, because I think a lot of MMOs too have gone to, well, use this spell to overcome your obstacle. You're done. You're good. Congratulations, you win.
Right.
So
I personally, because I do play necromancers every chance I get. Big spell book never really screams
awesomeness.
power to me.
Mm-mm.
Or ability. To me, that screams crap. There's something else I have to go sift through to find what I want to do. I know what it is. It's just going to take me forever to find it. So, in a way, I enjoyed EverQuest 2, where you get an ability, kick. A couple levels from now, you get an upgrade to it, and it replaces your kick with kick 2. and that way it keeps your spell books down to like 5 pages from level 1 to max level. And you don't have to worry about all these different versions of it.
Yeah.
There is a downside to that where, say, for instance, with EverQuest 1 being a Shadow Knight, it was more beneficial to use a lower level spell for mana efficiency because the effect was still the same. In that respect, the downside to that small spell book.
Yeah. PC Dunkley also had a suggestion here too. Even AAs could be used to reduce cons as well. So alternate advancement points too. So there's all kinds of ways they could approach it. So I think they should leave themselves open to every way possible to overcome some of the cons that your race or class might have, because that makes it more interesting. Because being able to go to a direct source and fix your problem right then and there, there's no challenge to the game.
Boring.
You don't have fun. It's boring. You're not out searching for things. Believe it or not,
not
people
having
don't
to
realize,
rely on people.
Yeah, not having to rely on people.
I always like the AA system too, because even playing a class that maybe didn't do as much damage, you could go earn AAs and put the points into that to improve your damage output, or your cold resist or your whatever it is. But I always like that idea for AAs to do that.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it.
I put
no
in
matter
the effort.
What,
I spent the time grinding those AAs. I should be able to put them towards whatever I want to either go far left, far right, or stay in the middle and just be good,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what game you're playing. If you have an ulterior form of advancement, be it talents, AAs, blah, 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 there's going to be cookie cutter builds. There's no way around it, because something's going to work for somebody exceedingly well. Like, for instance, WoW's 2-button rogue. That works really great for a lot of people. Have fun with that. That's fine. But it's going to happen in every game.
Mm-hmm.
In EverQuest 1, where you could literally spend thousands of AA points to progress your character, people would tell you need to get this, and then this, and then this maxed.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're set. Everything else doesn't matter. But, I mean, there's a game, Skyforge, where you advance through this just ginormous, almost like a skill web.
Mm-hmm.
Where you go along the web, and connect the dots.
Yeah, you can go left, you can go right. And what's also good about that with the Skyforge one is that you may want an ability that's way over there, but you got to go all the way over there. Now, the next ability you want might be all the way on the other side of that map.
Right.
So it's not just, fill this up, fill that up, you're done.
Right.
No, you've got to work your butt off to unlock the 4 or 5 things that you need, before you have those things, whatever,
Okay.
Right. And those are good. A system like that is very good as a time waster for players. But in the end, there's still going to be cookie cutters. There's still going to be this ability works well with this ability, so use them both. Don't use this because it doesn't work very well. It's always going to be no matter what.
If you're more combat oriented, you're going to go to that one first, or if you're more defensive oriented, you're going to go to that one first. But it doesn't mean that you can't get to both of them. It's just going to take longer.
Right.
Yeah.
Personally, like even when I played WoW, I never used a cookie cutter build. I always built my own because I'm a numbers guy. I love running the numbers. I used to have spreadsheets, and I used to build programs that would run simulations to figure out what skills were better. That's how I have fun. I don't expect anyone else to enjoy that.
I would.
But my wife, who works crazy hours compared to me.
I have enough number crunching as it is owning a business, so yeah.
Right.
That's the same down.
Whereas, but like my wife, she works a lot more hours than I do, plus because I work from home.
Sometimes those numbers go red.
Yeah. In her instance, because she's short on time, cookie cutter builds are actually a good thing. She doesn't have to spend the time researching this and that. I mean,
true.
I know I'm going to be the first one that says cookie cutter builds suck.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to say it because they suck for me. But if they work for you, use them. They're going to be cookie cutter builds no matter what Visionary Realms does.
Yeah, true.
There's going to be someone that says this works great. If there's customization, they'll come up with a path or an end goal of what to have, and that's that.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Just if you don't like it, don't use it.
Yeah, true.
We're still going to see it.
All right, not to put a stick in you, Lex, but let's go ahead and we'll try to get ourselves back on track here with question 4. Dwarves thick and stocky or thin and lanky? Should we should they change it? Should they kind of
Well, I
maybe
think,
model away from that?
well, especially since they're going to be in a cold environment, like any other like cold animal, then they put on fat and blubber, and they're big, to keep
Mm-hmm.
warm. So I would assume thick and stocky over thin and thin, because you would think
Right.
like a scar that lives in a desert would be thin and skinny, or versus somebody lives in the ice or whatever in the tundra is going to have more weight on them.
True. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. For me, it's more of a cosmetic issue rather
Mm-hmm.
than a series of logic for me. Um, a dwarf has always been on the shorter side. I'm not saying don't make him taller or anything, just on the shorter side of things, and they've always been very thick.
So it should
That to
be.
me screams dwarf. It's just
Okay.
the era I grew up.
That
So a
and that
dwarf,
women dwarves have beards.
right?
That screams dwarf to me too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and because here they're changing the skin color. If you look
They
at
look a
the
little
picture of
blue.
them, yeah, their skin color is a pale blue.
Mm-hmm.
Their just straight out cosmetic appearance is way different than anything else I've seen on dwarves for a long time.
Yep. True.
I mean, it's more cloth oriented versus plate.
Yes, I noticed that
So
too off the bat.
yeah,
So,
that makes me sit there and go, well, maybe this isn't what I was expecting.
but that's cloth
So
steel. Mm-hmm.
yeah, which is pretty neat. I really can't wait to hear more stuff about that.
Yeah, the lore it makes it definitely interesting. So they look pretty harmless, like you could kick their butt, but deep under that cloth is actually a steel cloth. So it's
Yeah,
not mithril. Not mithril, folks. It's not mithril.
yeah,
But
thank God. I got so tired of hearing mithril. I'm just like,
yeah,
oh,
mithril. We
can
got
you
the
people think of
it's the
anything different?
super cool mithril in the mountains of mithrilness. I mean, who created mithril? I think that was J.R.R. Tolkien, wasn't it? Who created mithril? So it's
I
been
think
pushed.
it's the earliest reference I can remember of it,
Yeah, as
which
far as I
then
know, yeah.
went over to all the Forgotten Realms books, and just so tired of seeing just the word mithril
Mm. Yeah, I
everywhere
think
you look now.
I think short is good for the dwarves. I would say move away from kind of the beer belly looking dwarves of D&D and the Hobbit and stuff like that, but making them a little bit stocky, kind of barbarian short, maybe. Kind of muscly, but not beer belly because they're fighters. I always when I see
Make
dwarves,
them husky.
yeah, make them husky. With the dwarves in every fantasy MMO, kind of have this like beer belly because they're always with every picture you see of a dwarf is usually with a battle axe and a big mug of beer or ale. It's like so. This is completely different. Actually, I have to see two blades here. Yeah, so he's got two short swords and a little bit thinner, not as beer belly-ish. In this
More
concept art,
lean.
yeah, he's kind of a little bit leaner. So I
Yeah, I
kind of
mean
like
that
that.
that to me screams fighter.
Yeah,
I
a
always
fighting
used to
dwarf.
look at the kind of chubbly dwarves and
That's
go,
lazy.
I could just outrun you. You take 4 steps if you had a breath.
Lazy rich alcoholics. That's what I see him
There you
as.
go. Yeah. And in that respect, they almost come off as more of a merchant class style society than a warrior class. They're like,
Hmm.
which is probably one of the things that made me shy away from them.
Yeah.
Here, if I make
Well, it would be
a
cool if you just say that same concept. So more of your town dwarves, like your the guy that works at the pub, or the guy that that is the merchant NPC or whatever. Maybe those guys are fatter, just because
Hmm.
yeah,
they
and that would make
they
perfect
don't
sense
they're
to
not
me.
out adventuring. The adventuring dwarves are the lean ones that are out.
Yeah, so you don't like walk into the dwarven town, you get up the front gate, and there's like big old beer keg stomach dwarves with halberds going, stop, or else they stop again, kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's like you see a guard, he looks like he's in shape,
Mhm.
but he's still short and stocky, which just screams dwarf.
I mean, he's still thick. Yeah, but
Yeah,
he's just buff.
muscle.
Yeah. Buff and thick, but not beer belly thick. Because if you look at a lot of the art rendition, they always are beer keg rounded bellies, strapped in leather and all the other crap. This is a little bit different take on it. I kind of like that. I like to see. Hopefully they model them a little bit more that way. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
some folks who are going to want the beer belly dwarf, so obviously give that cosmetic look maybe in the character creation screen. We can't leave the beer drinking dwarves out there that are all hardy and want to party. But we'll go with a couple versions of dwarves, I suppose. But I kind of like the
yeah,
concept art here. We're a little bit more fighter looking, and
right.
kind of ready to go to
Yeah,
battle, not
yeah.
not not drinking.
Revise our statement. Let's just say we would like the option to
Yes,
be more muscular and more lean.
yes. Give you that
So
option.
that way we can make our classic dwarf
Yeah,
if
there
we
you go.
wanted to, or we can make a Pantheon classic dwarf otherwise.
Exactly. Oh, jeez. So, anyways, other than that, yeah, I think, yeah, these dwarves are gonna be interesting, man. They really are. The lore sounds really cool. It's different. Um, I like the
I think
twist.
we're really gonna. I think the community as a whole actually is probably going to explode when we start hearing anything particularly about like racial benefits
That's
or stuff like that. I think just it's going to explode beyond belief.
I
I
believe
know
so
as a
too.
number cruncher, I'm gonna go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be like the high pitched Girl Scout squeal. I'll be so happy.
Well, that's scary. Yeah, I think you're right. I think once they start releasing a little bit more info on the races, as far as pros and cons, to environments and how the climates are going to affect them, you're going to see a gigantic increase in the community's interest as well. Right now, a lot of
Yeah,
people are standoffish, and that's understandable because it's a new
yeah,
game in development.
oh yeah,
However, the game tenets of Pantheon, if you read those, go out there and read those, folks, if you haven't already, and they appeal to you, chances are this is the game for you. Now, this is something that's coming back from the past, a blast from the past, so to speak, but with some new twists. So,
yeah. And it's high time here, 20 years later, that the
mm,
gaming industry decided to put some twists on things.
finally, change it up, and
Yeah,
this is kind of going to that change it up thing and make even the tactical fighting. I mean, is going to be completely different. I mean, it's not going to be the same. You are going to have some challenges to overcome, and I mean, we're
yeah. I
all
mean,
excited to see this for sure.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's like okay, I'll use my old guildmates from EverQuest as an example here. I've been talking about Pantheon. They've all showed very detached interest. Like, yeah, it sounds great, you know, but there's just not enough information where you can be like, okay, that's cool. It's just neat. I need to see where it's going.
True.
So, I mean, I've got 20, 30 people that I've been in guilds with over the years that are like, they're so tired of the industry and the stale games that they look at Pantheon and go, it's a great idea.
But
But once we get a little more information, then I'll start trying to get excited a little bit here.
mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm like, I see the potential. I see the team working on this, and I'm just like, potential of this game is just,
Oh yeah, yeah.
leaps and bounds over everything else.
It's mind-boggling because I think once folks realize that this is actually going to be a more social game and it's going to require more social interaction and where people actually work together, overcome the challenges and the odds, I think they'll finally say, okay, yeah, Pantheon is the game for me because, like I said, I've been looking for that a new game. I've been looking and searching. I can't find that game that actually draws me in and gives me that fun factor, the adventure, the challenge anymore. Getting with friends, getting together with friends and actually calling up, say, hey man, let's go do this together, tonight. I miss that because we don't get that with
Yeah,
today's MMOs. It's just all by yourself. Go run, do some quests, and do this and do your daily grind, and that's it.
yeah. That's
Yeah, just
that's
like when I
what
call my
most
brother, hey, when are you
MMOs.
going to be home from work so we can do this, so we can get
Mm-hmm.
this done, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
where you start getting text messages. Hey, we're all going to do a raid.
Yeah, it's
Come
like your
on.
phone blows up. This time
Um,
you got a phone to blow you up for raid calls now. Before
yeah,
back then, we didn't have a phone to blow you up. It was email or Is he going to show up in
Xfire.
I'll
game?
actually call you.
Yeah, or actually call you. Hey, did he give me his phone number? Do you got his phone number? Who's friends with him?
Yeah, like
So
I miss the camaraderie.
I do too. The
You know,
camaraderie was the best.
I miss going into a game expecting to just, kill some time and making a lifelong friend. No, it didn't happen every time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've made friends 20 years ago on EverQuest that I'm still friends with today. Hell, I married one of them.
Exactly. Yep. That's right.
mean-
Yeah, I still talk to people that I met in EQ1.
Yep. Same
Yeah.
here. I have them on my Facebook. Yep.
And every time I'm talking with those people, we always reminisce about this raid or that raid or this group
Yep.
or when we were dueling here or this quest.
And it was in EverQuest.
We're always just
It was EverQuest.
reminiscing.
Mm-hmm. It was EverQuest we were talking about too a lot of the time. It was not, hey, it was the new Skyforge game or Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2. It was always back to EverQuest. Why EverQuest? Yeah. I always ask myself, why EverQuest? And it comes down to that challenge, that social challenge of working together as a team. And when you got beat down 100 times by this one dragon, and then finally your guild and that group get together and they finally defeat that dude, it's just an awesome feeling. And you all walk away from that night from your computer just like,
because
wow.
you're basically building a relationship with those people that you play with constantly, and those are like 5 years, 10 years down the road. You look back at that, it's like going to the summer camp as a kid or going to whatever. You're always like, oh, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? Same thing.
It's just awesome. It's just that awesome feeling, that you get from overcoming the odds and the challenges together.
Right.
So.
And like to stay a little bit on the dwarf topic here. I mean,
yes, stay dwarvish.
But I'll hell no.
How can we stay dwarvish? This is Pantheon Rise of the Fallen we're talking about here.
Exactly. But I mean, I made connections with people just solely based on the race I was and the race they were. I made friends with people like that because those that knew me from EverQuest knew that I was, eventually I settled on the Ixar race, which is an evil lizard race.
Yeah.
So to them, everyone that wasn't a lizard was called a smooth skin.
And he ate dwarven babies.
Yeah. Everyone that wasn't an Ixar was a smooth skin. So that was an insult to call someone a smooth skin. And I wasn't an RPer, but I still called people smooth skins. When it came to dwarves, I didn't call them a dwarf. I called them a DOORF, a dwarf.
A dwarf.
And I knew some friends in real life that they dwarfs oh my God. That made them furious. And it's not because I was insulting them or their choice. It was just like
a dwarf.
They made a dwarf. Now they feel attached to this character to where they are a dwarf at heart.
Yes, true.
So you say a dwarf, and they're just like, like, by my beard, I'll strangle you with it.
Yes.
And
PC Dunkley.
It made for some very interesting conversations, even though I'm not a role player at all.
Yeah. Yep. PC Dunkley said it was a game where you needed other people, you relied on others, and that's absolutely true. I mean, you had to rely on other people. You couldn't just solo it and become the superhero by yourself. You actually had to become the heroes together, and I do miss that. And then,
you show me a modern game out today, like in the last 5 years, say that you can't solo. Vast majority of it.
Yeah, vast majority you can solo it all. Yeah, the only
there
thing
might
you
be like
do
two things in a game I can't solo.
Yeah, and then again, some of the solo content runs out.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm talking like I go to stuff that's technically higher level than I should be doing, and I still solo it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get bored of the game a week later, and I uninstall it.
Yep, true. Okay, let me move on to the news, guys. And today's news, or the last couple days in news for Pantheon. My news slide's a little boring. I didn't have time to finish it up today, so pardon me. Real life gets in the way sometimes. But Pantheon, they posted, check out their latest Q&A with Brain Bean Gaming. Kilson was interviewed by Brain Bean, and you can check out our interview we had with Kilson probably a few months back and get some more information as well there. Community matters right now. They're really spotlighting the community. The August newsletter came out, so if you haven't caught that, get on there and get the August newsletter. It's filled with some cool stuff, and they have the patch notes and what they've been working
Yep, patch
on.
notes.
So the patch notes are really neat. So take a look at those patch notes. Sorry I didn't put them up on here. I didn't have time to gather them all up. So I was busy making macaroni and cheese into mush so I could eat before the stream. Many people said they can't wait to play Pantheon. Oh, wait, those people are you? Yes, that is us. So we can't wait. And then Pantheon also asked you guys out there in the community, so you should be following them on Twitter. So if you have an answer or you want to state your opinion as well, they're asking what your thoughts on purchasing in-game items and where should the line be drawn in your opinion. My personal opinion.
Now, keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Go
keep
ahead.
in mind. This is just an opinion. They're not saying that they're doing it one way or the other.
Yep. That's what folks tend to.
They want to know how you feel about it before anything is even brought up in discussion.
Exactly.
Which is amazing on the face of it that they're actually asking you these things.
True. Very true, because a lot of folks, take the question as that's going to happen in the game. But no, what they're doing is they're actually out there asking you guys information to get your opinion so they can get an overall consensus of, hey, should we follow this path? So remember that. That's why we ask you to come on board on our show, state your opinion. So it's not just me, Kodiak, Lexar, Yarnilla, or occasional straggler comes on here. But come on board the show here. State your opinions, what we discuss. In chat, you guys do occasionally. We do try to point you out there, and get you out
If
here.
you feel very strongly on a certain topic, let us know.
Yes.
Maybe if a lot of other people have a very strong opinion of that, that could be a show. The only restriction is that you try to be civil and you try to look at things from both sides. That's really the only thing. I mean, here, I know we do get worked up a lot on some pretty crazy stuff because we're all fanatic old gamers, but you only have you have everything to gain if you look at it from both sides. And you can still say, like, I'm totally against the cash shop. Cool. But can you tell me of a reason why it would be good? Kind of thing. I'm against it. I can think of 4 or 5 reasons why it's good.
The only thing I could think good for the cash shop, me personally, my opinion is like additional bank space. It's usable in game. It's not a pay to win. It just gives you more space to store more crap. That's basically it, in a sense. That's how I look at it. And is it worth buying? Yeah, it can be. I mean, if you don't want to put a bunch of bags in your bank or you need more additional slots because you're just a collector, a hoarder of weird collectibles throughout the world, then sure, buy that bank spot. But you don't have to. That's the thing about the cash shop. If they were to put a cash shop in, is you don't have to purchase anything. But I do like the subscription model, though, because that's where you're going to get guaranteed content. You're going to get your guaranteed updates, all that stuff, because the team is getting paid. They're getting their paycheck to continue to run the servers, the electricity, all that stuff, the overheads, because gamers forget that it's not just sell a copy of the game, it's done and over and it's dry, but they have to pay bandwidth usage to other companies. They got to pay access. They got to pay electricity to run their servers, maintain their servers, hardware, equipment malfunctions. Folks, I'll tell you what, the overheads in gaming industry actually do get big. But I'm not talking about Origin games, EA. Okay, they're huge. I mean, they made AAA titles, and of course they're cash cows. But this is Pantheon Rise of the Fallen Visionary Realms, a small company who's a startup. So they're going to have a lot of overheads to start with. They're going on their own with this. So you got to remember that. Keep them in the perspective of a small startup company. And small businesses have huge overheads when they first start out, because I'm a business owner myself. And believe me, I wished I was super rich, but I'm not. But it's a slow building process, and you got to look at it that way. These guys aren't cash grabbing and cash cows. These guys are actually trying to build a game, and it does require paychecks to pay people so they can pay to feed their families, etc. So always keep that in mind. But some gamers out there, I've seen this, they're just trying to steal my money and take my money and rip me off. Not all the time, but sometimes there are. I'm not saying there ain't.
Yeah.
But these guys aren't about trying to take your money, steal your money. They're actually showing you the product, because we've gotten to see 2 streams of this game being unveiled. So always remember that. Keep that in the back of your head, that these guys are working for a paycheck and to feed their families as well and maintain overheads for their company. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I'm an IT guy. I can tell you right now that some servers, thousands of dollars a month to maintain.
Yep.
Okay, it can be ridiculous. I'm not going to say what Pantheon's overhead could be because I don't have any clue. Really don't. And I've been in the IT industry for 20 years, and I can tell you I have no idea what they could have to pay. It could be really high, it could be really low. We don't know.
Yep.
The fact that they're not putting in a cash up, but they're asking your opinion.
Yep, they want your
I feel there's
opinion.
no reason to really get upset about.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some folks already hooting, hollering, threatening with pitchforks,
Yeah.
burn down Pantheon. It's like, really? They were just asking you a question. They didn't say we're putting this in the game.
It's like someone coming up to you and saying, "Do you like the color blue?" And then you're going, "The color blue is garbage." Blah, 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 blah. No,
And then
no,
burn them with fire.
Give them your honest
witch.
feedback. Yeah, give them your honest feedback. Be done with it. Move on.
Yep. Give honest feedback and be done. Give the pros and cons of why you don't like the cash up or why you do like the cash up idea. But ultimately, I'm a subscription-based person myself personally, so I like to.
And I'm an advocate for free to play. I love free to play titles because Pantheon subscription. Yes. Because it's subscription, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yep. Some people
Am I a
don't.
little bothered by it? Well, I like to see what I'm buying before I buy it. That's just me. But
Yep.
they're giving us enough information through their live streams and everything to where I'm okay buying the game. I'm okay with paying for a month. See where it goes.
Just to let you know, Dal here, I went in debt today. I bought the VIP access, so yep, I just threw $1,000 on this game, folks. So it's got my heart. I'm ready. I'm ready to play. So if Dal's taking the chance, I mean, I've taken a lot of big business risks lately, haven't I? This is getting crazy.
Oh yeah,
No, I have. I've taken some big risks here, especially with the VOT store and all that. I'm really jumping on board with this, so yep, I really love it. It's exciting. It's great.
Right.
So
yeah, and if the shop ever does happen, because let's face it, guys, if you're a subscription-based game and things start going downhill, you want to keep the game alive. You're going to do whatever it takes. Okay. If things don't go well for them, that's a big if. And they decide, look, let's try this cash shop thing. I can guarantee you that it's going to be cosmetic and convenience items.
Yeah, vanity
items. At least
items.
to start.
Yep.
I mean, it could save them if they were in trouble. It might not. But, you really don't want to cash shop, state your opinion. Don't state it like, I am God, listen to me. Because no one will pay any attention to you.
Exactly.
Be clear, be concise. Let them know that you are on their side. This is your opinion.
Yep. Cody,
but in the end, they have to do what they have to do.
We're ranting. Yeah. What's your opinion, brother? Throw some out there.
On the cash shops?
Yeah, cash shops.
Negative on those.
Yeah.
So I replied on Facebook or whatever. So I think that there are certain things that services, whether it's server transfers or race changes or stuff like that they should, but it was not in game. Have it do it on their website. You know.
True. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, it makes perfectly sense. Go to your account and your game account, pay for your character transfer. Yeah, I could see that. Yep.
And just to be 150% clear here, they have said multiple times that they do have zero plans for a cash shop. Zero.
Yes, they did.
And one of the problems that I don't like about cosmetic is some of that shit is goofy as fuck.
Yeah, some of that,
like, why would you have a motorcycle driving down a forest or have some guy sitting on a rocket? I mean, some of it just doesn't make any sense. It has not lore driven.
Yep.
It's
it's just stupid crap that they make money off of. So that's the thieves in game. If you're not doing lore, vanity, lore, cosmetic stuff,
let me
get that crap
buy a
out of here.
Pink Barbie Jeep to drive around and slay some dragons.
Let me get a rainbow color Puff the Magic Dragon mount.
Yeah. That's why I'm on no.
And that's the problem with cosmetic and convenience cash shops. Eventually, you start throwing in ridiculous items for the novelty of them, which to people like me, who will be paying a subscription, immersion breaking, I think it's ridiculous. It makes me lose
Yep.
respect for the game
It's
and the player that
disrespectful.
has it.
Yep.
Frankly,
I would rather if you want vanity items, I would rather do like what a lot of the games are doing now. Like when the seasons happen, you go do a quest to earn a vanity item or something like
Yeah.
that, rather than pay money for it.
Mm.
right
You want a
now,
reindeer mount at Christmas? You go do a quest. You get a rainbow reindeer mount. I mean, shit like that.
yeah.
But you can only
But,
drive it in the
like,
reindeer arena.
Oh God! I mean, when they first did that tweet about cash shops, I gave them my honest opinion. I told them cash shops, and to me, just scream money grabs.
Yep. They do.
It's blatantly just I'm greedy, gimme, gimme, gimme. That's what
Yeah.
it says to me.
Mm-hmm.
And and they came back and they said, well, it is a money grab, but it's to make money for the game. And I was like, I understand, but that also screams that as a subscription-based game, you're saying my subscription isn't good enough. You need
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, and so that's
So-
why I think purchasing like a character transfer, additional bank slots, that should be on the Visionary Realms your Visionary Realms account out of the game, so that's not a distraction within the game, So
Yeah.
I agree. I
If-
think those things should be handled off the side on your account personally.
Yeah.
So
If it ever came down to they needed a cash shop to stay in operation, I would be fine with that, but I would strongly urge them to be very, very selective
yes,
on what items are there and what they
very
cost.
selective.
Because
Mhm.
that is basically, you could be saving the company or you've just put the last nail in the coffin.
Exactly. Yes, that's $29.95 for this purple dragon that does absolutely jack crap in Pantheon when you're driving around in the dungeon.
Well, see, and
because
also when it
let's-
comes
I mean,
down to cosmetic, okay. So this is another reason why it shouldn't be in there, because if we want mounts that matter,
Mhm.
if we want situational gear, right?
Mhm.
Then if you look at somebody who has a certain type of gear or a certain mount, you're expected to do one thing or another. They shouldn't have to pay for it. They should have earned it.
Yeah, I
Right.
think
See-
cash shops are a bad idea too, personally. But
Yeah, and I mean, Dunkley brings up a good point. Cash shops have a really bad stigma.
They do.
Just having one will turn off a lot of players, and that's true. Because they are so. I've yet to see a good or a well done cash shop.
Yep.
Or that's not true. I think I've seen one, and I forget what game it is. It was one. Everyone else is blatantly, I'm greedy. You need this.
Yes.
Give me your money.
Yes, you need the sparkly
And-
fireworks package for $10.95 plus shipping and handling.
Right. But like on top of that, like say you start adding crazy mounts like a hovering squirrel, right?
Mm,
That's going to make me leave the game because it's like,
Yes.
screw this, I'm out.
yeah, exactly. Because
Well,
it's
it's
not.
Once
So
they get
you
away
trying to
from
make
the
money
lore,
just
then
cost you
it's-
money.
Yeah,
it's-
you go away from lore. It just sorry, excuse me, I almost said the wrong word. It screws up the frickin' game. You
Yeah.
know? Going away from lore.
When you talk about immersion, right? The whole point of this is immersion, so that when you're playing 3 or 4 or 5 hours go by and you're like, oh crap, I haven't eaten, or whatever, that's when they were talking about immersion. It's like, but if you're sitting around watching purple donkeys, run by, it's like, what the hell is that doing here,
Right. But I mean, actually, I've got a dwarf question for you guys.
Oh, here we go. Dwarf question. Shoot.
I bet it's
What
a short
race
one.
can you see being their direct opposition?
Say that again.
What other race in Pantheon would you see as a dwarf's primary opposition?
Primary opposition.
Let's see, ogres eat gnomes, right?
Mm. I
Well,
know
it's
that's-
like every race usually has it's one class that is its polar opposite, or not
Yeah.
class, but one race that is its mirror
Well, I would
opposite.
say Scar, because if these are ice, then Scar would be like desert,
desert.
hot.
Mhm.
I would think that those two would be
clashing.
opposite of each other.
Okay, Master
I
Pants.
could agree with that. I
I
could go
think-
for some dwarf punting.
I think Master Pants is a good statement there. Many subs would be canceled from a cash shop. I think so too, because when
Yeah.
people see, oh, there's a cash shop, well, they don't need my subscription anymore.
Or why subscribe when I have to pay to get this stuff anyway?
Exactly. So
Or-
yeah, I think subscription the best place to go. Really, me personally, I don't like free to play, because free to play, you're not loyal to the game. You can log in anytime you want. You're not held to a standard. Me personally, I like to have to pay because I know, okay, I'm paying to play this game. I like the game, but I gotta have it keep me focused and keep me going. So by having a subscription, it makes me say, hey, I gotta be loyal to my subscription because I'm paying for this, and I do have
Yeah, I
fun
want to
with
get
it.
my $15 or $20
Yep,
worth every month.
exactly. So I'm gonna log in there for an hour or two. So you figure, $15. You break that down. That's about what, $1 a day roughly playing. A
That's
dollar for
50
2
cents a
days.
day.
50 cents a day. Yeah. So, see, I'm
So
terrible with
you
number
have some
crunching right now.
short months down there.
I know, bro.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was like.
come on, man. I'm drinking Mountain Dew. I'm trying to wake up. Okay, so you're 50 cents a day. I mean, I remember people bitching back in the day. I had to pay 50 cents a day for 8 hours of gameplay. This is bullcrap. I'm thinking, 50 cents a day, dude.
You go to the movies once a week for like $12 a seat.
Yeah, or they'll pay $75 to go at Outback Steakhouse
Yeah, that's
and then
like
go
a
see a
nickel
movie.
an hour.
Yeah, that's like
You
it's
can't
like,
even get a gold farmer for that much.
I know, right? So
Oh,
so that's
it's all
why
a matter of
that's
perspective.
why I'm saying to the devs, don't let these simple, small-minded folks say, "Oh, 50 cents a day sucks to pay." Then don't pay and don't play. Go away. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yep.
All right, so
Yeah, and
go ahead.
but you
I
go
was-
ahead.
I was looking at the
We gotta
chat
get out.
here.
We gotta get on to a different topic.
Okay, because ESO, I would be fine with $1 a day for a subscription. Yeah, same here, Dark Soul. That'd be cool because I'm having fun.
Yeah, I would. If the game is intriguing and immersive and whatever,
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
I would.
They got
For
my
me, it
money.
wouldn't matter.
I'd rather pay
Yeah.
my money
If
for
it's
10
worth it-
years
if
to
it-
these guys.
If it's worth it, I will pay it.
Heck yeah.
I don't care what it is. If I feel it's worth it, I will pay it.
What do you want on a shirt,
Yeah.
Royal? You'll have to send me that in a message. ESO has subscription and cash shops. A lot of people drop subs, and now they're charging crazy amounts for mounts, expansions on cash shop. Exactly. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
they put
right.
themselves in an even worse situation. Instead of doing something like adding a reason for people to sub more,
Yep.
they gave
That's
people a
why-
reason to drop subs.
I mean, that's why I said if they're going to have any type of services for money, whether it's server transfers or character, race
Do it on
change,
your
whatever,
account, not in game.
do it on the website, away from the game.
Yep.
You're
absolutely
that way
right.
it's not
The game,
staring you in
leave
the
it
face.
just game.
Yep. It's not staring you in the face while you're in game because you're not being distracted by a little icon up here that says $signs and says, spend your money here. It's like, no. I'd rather pay for it in a subscription.
There you go.
I'd rather pay for the expansion when it
You
comes
don't
out.
want to pay, go away.
Go
Good
away
day.
and don't play. Exactly. I didn't hear Brad say that they were thinking about making the game free to play for the first few levels so people could check out the game. That's shamuka.
I think he did say something about like 1 through 10. You could download the game,
Right.
play like levels 1 through 10 just to check it
Right.
out. But good to go past level 10, you would have to pay the subscription.
Which is
Yeah.
a great
Now-
idea.
As a free-to-play guy,
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
I love that
now if
because
they make
that's
it
why
so
I love
that
free-to-play games.
an
I can try it
incentive-
before I commit.
Yeah, and if
Yes.
they make it an incentive for the older characters to go to the newbie zones to interact with those people, right? Whether it's mentoring
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
donate your old armor to somebody you get as a quest or something, then it's going to make that more people. Actually, that's a good quest line. I didn't even think about that.
Yes.
Donate your old armor to a noob. It just makes
Welcome.
it so that more people want to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think with that, doing that is phenomenal. I mean, I'm going to get so many people to try the game. My wife, with her being more of a casual gamer these days, because she's so busy, I can get her to go and try it for 1 to 10. If she likes it, we'll get it
Yes.
for her.
Exactly.
No?
Yeah, and I think
So
that
that's
actually
great.
help pull people away from the free-to-play mindset.
Yeah.
And won't hey, this game's awesome.
I
I
do
don't
like
care
to
about
pay
the
for it.
$20 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great
Now-
idea.
Biggest challenge that we as a community are going to face here is that the population of the game with this free 1 to 10, the population of the game and its well-being is going to be directly in our hands. If we're acting like immature little buggers,
No.
we're going to scare people away.
No, we come along and we say, "Welcome, newbie. I'm your
Yeah.
host, Delencia, and I'm here to guide you through the world of Terminus for the next 10
I'm here
levels
to help you.
to help you. If you need a question, I am the game master. Welcome."
Yeah, I mean, if you help someone who's new, they're going to want to log in again.
Heck
Not
yeah.
necessarily just to see you, but to see who else is going to be great.
Exactly when we were talking about our first EQ1 experiences or our first
Game
gaming
masters.
experience,
GMs
just
were
you know
awesome.
whatever, right? All of us said that at some point in the first 5 hours that we logged into a game, somebody approached us, talked to us, gave us money, did something, gave us some buffs, they did something to influence the reason that we stayed with that game.
Exactly.
Yep.
Within
And
the
we stayed
first
for
2
5, 10
hours
years or
of
something.
being logged into a game, some other random person should walk up to you and say something or introduce themselves or give you a buff or, you know what I'm saying, something like that.
Yeah. Welcome, Auxilian Blue Crusader. Your life force is running out.
Here, have some more.
Yeah, see, the GMs, one of my most memorable experiences, really quick here, just to throw it in here, because since we're talking about this, the GM, I died going through High Pass Hold and all that Kithgore. I got all the way up to South Carolina from Freeport and died. And I didn't know how to get my corpse and all that, so I contacted the GM. And lo and behold, this glorious GM, dark elf GM with gold-plated armor. It was spiffy. I was like, here, I'm a newbie to this game. Oh, it looked like a goddess.
Basically, God.
She was like a goddess that came out of nowhere. She says, how may I assist you, Dalencia? And I was like, I died over here and I don't know where to get my body. And you know what? Whoa! She summoned my body right there, my corpse. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And that was the most memorable experience. That was the coolest thing.
You'll be 86 years old.
Yep, and I'll still remember that glorious dark elfin GM.
I remember when the GM helped me.
That was awesome. So
it's the fact that you can get into a game, make memories instead of just making experiences.
Yep, make memories that you'll remember a lifetime for. It's cool.
And I think when the game is released, I challenge everybody that's watching this. I challenge you that when the game is released, to help a new person.
Yes, help a new person. That's what makes the game as a community.
Or
It'll either make or break it.
Once a week as a guild motto or something. Hey, once a week you guys got to go to the newbie zone for an hour or something. You know,
answering a question in chat, handing them a piece of gear that you were just going to sell or destroy anyway. Going to a new zone and just giving people buffs.
Yes.
Maybe giving them a little bit of money, not a lot,
not
a little bit.
Help them out.
Simple.
Yep, help them out. Simple stuff will make an impression on people.
They could do. I mean, if they have like like guild levels, right? They can do the same thing. Like they can implement some type of you have to spend so much time in those certain zones, those 1 through 10 newbie zones, and you can track it that way.
Heck yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff, guys, so just remember when the game comes out, remember the noobs. I mean, the super newbies, because there's going to be players who've never played an MMO who'll be jumping on this game and, help them out. And thanks, PC Dunkley, for joining us. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, I mean, being hateful is, yes, it's going to affect a lot of people.
Yep.
Being nice to somebody is going to ripple.
Exactly.
We'll
have a ripple effect, yes.
Yeah.
And you'll be remembered,
you're going to help
too.
him. He's going to help this guy.
It could be as simple as answering a question in chat. Just that answering that one little question is going to make that person's day.
Yep. Because the thing I hate the most is going into the game, ask a question out of character, say, hey, can I get some help? Anybody know where I need to do this at?
Go away,
I'm kinda
noob.
lost. Go away, newbie! Don't come back here again! Or they don't answer you, period. It's like cricket, 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 and 80 lines of text go by and not one person responds. Like, okay, well, screw this game.
Want to
Community
sell.
sucks here.
And then you start spamming
Want
market
to sell
stuff.
this.
And you're like,
want to sell information to young Dalencia who don't know where to go on the quest, willing to sell for some plat.
See, now
that's a jerk too.
Like with Brain Bean's interview with Kilson.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen them all yet.
A community. And he said like a community will make or break a game.
And that's true.
Says that within like the first minute.
Very true.
And I'm sitting there going,
within the first 2 hours of somebody trying out a game, they need to be
impressed, the most
impressed
impressionable,
and meet people and see things and do certain things all within that first 2 hours, or they're going to go away. You know?
Yeah.
Or if Brad's watching this, make the Voices of Terminus GM channel.
Oh, good Lord.
We will help
Just
you.
don't give me any privileges, as I will abuse them. I'm sorry, I'm being honest.
I want
I'll
all
abuse
kinds
the
of
shit out of
power,
them,
Brad.
too.
Give me all kinds
I'll
of power.
I'll find Crusaders and spawn them up in the air and watch them go splat.
I'll be like, poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need?
What do you need?
Poof, poof, what do you need?
Sorry, I cannot help you. You must earn
Fiery
that.
Avenger.
No, but
All I'm going to say is don't make me anything like that.
I think they were
as much
talking
as
about
as much as I would love it, don't do it.
Yeah, I think they're making GMs though. They're talking about having a GM program, which is a good idea because
Or
there
a
are going
guide
to be
program.
Yep, or a guide program. So, yeah, definitely that would be cool. So, but yeah, community's important, folks. Seriously. So remember that community is
Yep.
key.
You as a player can make or break the
Yep.
game.
Your reputation mattered in EverQuest, and I still believe that to this day. That we need to go back to the old morals, standards, common courtesies, and decencies, that people had then, because some of it's been corrupted nowadays. But we need to go back to those friendly things.
Your
and helping people
reputation
out.
matters. How you treat other people, how you are.
It matters.
And
you can be scorned or blacklisted.
Perceived by other people.
And if you're a dwarf, how you braid your beard matters.
Yeah, it's like Auxilian, if he was to go in and do a big poopy smiley face on the ground, people are not going to like that. Come on.
No, that's bad.
See? So you got to remember that your reputation's going to matter, folks. All right, but we digress, and we're getting off track a little bit. But ultimately, though, we're very passionate about the game, folks, as you can see. And there's some passionate, heated debates in the forums. Check it out.
Don't let it get you down.
Yeah, don't let it get you down. Stick with the positive stuff. Make positive suggestions, all that stuff. Join us on our show. I mean, you guys out there who follow us in chat, you're more than welcome to come on, join us in our TeamSpeak channel, email us, contact us in the forums. I mean, you name it. We want to bring you on to get your opinions and let you rattle, so we're not always rattling ourselves. We'd like to hear some of your guys' input too. I know you do it in chat, but
if you don't agree with something that we've said, please come on in, discuss it with us.
Yes, and just
please.
bribe me with a Mountain Dew, and I might change my mind. You never know, right? So, but other than that, we definitely are positive, looking toward this game. Community does matter, so remember that. Reputation matters. Folks are looking for help. And I know if you're following us, the Voices of Terminus guys, and we're out there playing in Pantheon and in Terminus, we're definitely going to be there to help you guys. If we know something, we'll help you. We're definitely like that. That's what our guild's all about, and that's what our show's all about. We're trying to bring you that information.
Just don't bug me for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, Kodiak might be one of those standoffish. He is kind of a bear, bear name, Kodiak, bear. So
he'll just be like, I'm busy questing.
I'm busy questing. Leave me alone. So... But just contact me, Yarnilla, or Lexar. We'll help you. Kodiak, standoffish for at least 2
Actually, if you're a Dire Lord,
I'll be fine. I'm just messing.
I know.
with you
We're
guys.
just messing with you.
We're just giving you.
Yeah, we're raising or whatever. Side note: Mountain Dew to Dell. Now, how about that cash shop?
Take the Mountain Dew and like it. Don't like it.
To be quite honest, Royal, I think that's gonna be about at least 1,000 cans
You know what
of
they
Mountain
should
Dew.
add? Hey, they should add a Pizza Hut delivery service in game or some shit like that.
Oh,
That's what they should add.
Now that's an awesome app right there. Deliver pizza
I
while
gained
we're in a
400
Pantheon
pounds
raid.
in the first 6 weeks.
Yeah. They could charge me an extra $5 on my account if I order a pizza through Domino's or something like that to come to my house.
One click away.
Yep, one click away. Boop. Send a pizza to Dell's house.
Or Panda Express. I love Chinese food more than pizza anyway. So yeah, Panda Express. Bam.
There you go.
No. I don't need anything like that.
Lex would probably be eating pizza every Friday. So every Friday it's raid day for
You
Lex.
realize if they did something like that, I'd have to give the pizza delivery guy a key to my house because I wouldn't be getting up to pick it up.
Yeah, I know, right?
exactly.
It'd be like, just leave it in the door chute, man. We'll have to get a door installed with a chute for pizza only. So, all right, just shut
Keep
up
my
and take
window
my money.
open over here and
Yes.
just slide it in.
Right? So yeah, it'd be kind of awesome actually. Have an app that's already programmed with your preset pizza toppings and all that, and then just hit click, bam, and it sends it to order, and they deliver it to your house. And charge your account automatically. You're all set. You're good to go. The only problem is though with information technology, freaking hackers.
It'd be terrible. It would. I'd die before
Yeah. You die of a heart attack.
I'm not gonna say the age because then I feel bad and I want to cry.
Yep, you're gonna cry. So
I
anyways,
die before my next birthday.
okay. Any questions out there? Because we are getting a little. Yeah, we're running almost a 2-hour show. Days, man. We try to keep it to an hour, but we
All
get
just
caught
running
up.
our mouths.
Yeah, we are kind of just chit chatting. So if you want to chit chat and join along, I mean, please feel free to join. No, but any questions out there in chat, real quick? We'll take a few, and then we'll
Any
get ready
questions about dwarves? Things
Yeah.
you'd like to see?
Dwarves about account security yet? No, they haven't mentioned anything about account security yet.
They'll probably have that little key fob thingy.
I hate those, to be quite honest.
You know, the little app you put on your
Yeah,
phone with
the
the little
two-factor
numbers and stuff.
authentication.
I hated
Yeah.
that stupid thing. Be quite honest, I hated those, and I always forgot.
Yeah,
and
but
said,
you
"Screw
have to nowadays. If you just use a username and password, your shit's gonna get hacked.
They're not that secure
They're not that. Yeah, nothing's very secure anymore nowadays. It don't matter
because
what you
they're
do.
all time-based. You just got to figure out their
Yep.
algorithm, and you can get
Yep,
it every
exactly.
time.
That's what I was just reading an article too, actually, because there's a lot of change your password every 30 days.
Absolutely.
And that's actually
Absolutely,
causing it
beards.
where people can figure that shit out. So, dwarf female beards and Pantheon, yes or no?
Yep.
I say yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Bring that classic back, and that would be kind of one of those Easter
They need it
eggs.
to stay warm.
Yes, they had to stay warm. So yes, we agree. We'll go with dwarf female beards and Pantheon. Yes, Brad, if you hear that, fans want dwarf females with beards. Just so you know, keep that in mind.
That's like, give them options. They want a beard, they want a fat belly, they want whatever, you know.
I'm not gonna answer that one, Dark
It's not
Soul.
ridiculous customization. Like, don't make my dwarf look like a freaking gorilla.
Yeah, just don't make it look burly, like a burly kind of weird woman. So, yeah, keep it feminine looking, but with a beard if you want. You know, keep choices there, right? Like the beer belly dwarf, vice the
Yep.
stocky. Any other questions out there? Shoot them out there. We are listening. It's about a 15-second delay. We can play Jeopardy right now. So,
I had my soundboard for my stream. I'd actually have that playing.
there you go. Cool. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty good, dude. So you like your shirt? Dark Soul Omega
love
likes
my
his
shirt.
shirt. I think he loves his shirt. I think he's in love with that shirt. Royal, did you get your shirt yet? It's on
Did.
its way. He should have got. You got your mugs and your shirt, so it should be there in the next day or two if he hasn't got it.
Yeah, mugs.
Will the
I
dwarf
also have.
Will the dwarf be class restricted, or did I miss that? I haven't seen anything. Oh yeah, rest in peace, Lexor. We did make those mugs. Yes, he got his shirt. Awesome. Are you wearing it? You better be wearing it right now.
Oh, will the dwarf class restrict?
Yeah.
Well, It's safe to assume that there are going to be
Yeah,
race class
restricted.
restrictions.
Yeah, I think so. That's the
Because
safest
it just
bet.
doesn't make sense.
Everybody
Do
being able
stuff
to be
like
everything.
an ogre with a cleric. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't really mix.
Yep.
Only weapons. I seriously doubt that.
Yeah.
I mean, just because Dal's a human and I'm a scar doesn't mean we can't pick up the same cup. No. So I would hope we don't see class restricted or racial restricted weapons.
Yeah.
I can understand class, but I've not race.
Well, no, I mean, I don't agree with that because I think that they're like, even in EQ1 they had tribal, tribunal, you know, like human only, ogre only, dwarf only, but it wasn't like a full. It was like a specific armor set that was just catered to that race.
Well, with armor, you could pull the whole. It's not the right size. Watching a dwarf put on a chest plate that would fit an ogre would seem.
Yeah, but even in blacksmithing,
Numerous.
you had large plate, and then you had regular plate. It just either had the word large in front of it or whatever.
Yep.
Yep. True. My dire wolves
with
went wild.
weapons. With weapons, I think that'd be for me. It would be a little too far.
Yeah, there's got to be class and race restrictions. There's got to be. So everybody out there who's watching, yes, definitely class, race restrictions, weapons, all that stuff. Yeah, definitely. And of course, Royal had his shirt on.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Otherwise, I'd be disappointed in him.
Yes, loyalty. Where's your loyalty, royalty? Where's your royalty? All right. Okay, guys, gals. I guess we should get ready to sign off here. So, any closing thoughts, Kodiak? Throw them out there, please.
No, we covered them all. We're good.
You covered them all. You're good.
It's safe to say that we're all very happy to see a classic dwarf, but with a twist.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, this is all just speculation at this point because we don't have any real details.
Yeah.
All we can do is just guess.
Oh, geez, yeah. Disclaimer time. Crap. They caught me. I was hoping to get away with a show without a disclaimer. Darn. Ladies and gentlemen, your disclaimer. All right, we are here. We speculate and we theory craft on the ideas of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. However, everything we're speculating and theory crafting is not essentially going into the game. However, we do mention some game things or tenets that are going into the game. But we do a lot of that here on the Voice of the Terminus show. And we've been mistaken for devs in the past, but however, a lot of you now, our fans, know that we are not developers, but we will bring the developers onto our show when we can get them away from their busy schedules. Brad is watching, so I better make sure that this disclaimer is perfect to a T. But anyways, no, just remember, we speculate a lot here. We throw around a lot of ideas from the community. We go to the forums, and we will be in the future here doing a lot from the forums as well, getting a lot more questions that are being asked in the forums onto the show, so we can discuss those as well. But we beg you and plead that you guys jump onto the show, state your opinions, because the developers do watch the show. They are watching what the community's talking about. You know, they want to assess what some of our ideas are, what our passions are, why we like the games that we do, and why we like Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. So remember, we're just speculating here, merely speculating a lot of the time, and brainstorming, whatever you want to call it. That's what we do here on our show. And you're more than welcome to state your opinion. If you disagree with us on something, please come on. I mean, this is a place to hash it out in a positive way and positively come to disagreements or agreements, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
So
if there's something you're not a fan of, but we are, if you discuss it with us,
yep,
you'll give us a new perspective. Maybe there's information that we overlooked. I mean, it's possible. We're only human.
Exactly. We're only human beings here.
Well,
and
some of us are
fans.
human.
Yeah, true. I mean, the Dire Lord thinks he's real. But anyways, that is your disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, for the Voices Terminus show, number 26, about the Dwarves. But like I said, you're free to come on the show and discuss your opinions or ideas with us. We'd be more than happy to have you on. So we are a community show. We're trying to make ourselves community, so we're not just some single YouTuber out there trying to grab those YouTube ratings. But we're out there to discuss and bring you information about the game and bring you on into our guild too. If you like us, you want to be part of our guild, just look us up, get to know us a little bit better. And if we're the type of people you're looking for, the guys and gals you want to hang out with, so be it. I mean, jump on board with us.
Jump on our Discord. You got the link down on our info panels.
Yep, we got all of our links there in the info panels, everything, you name it. So with that, guys, thanks for joining us. Oh, and don't forget the contest. Go to our webpage, join the contest. Submissions have to be in by the 18th. I believe we're going to be announcing the winner a few days after that or something like that, if I recall. So jump on board that, get that contest. 2 Knights pledges to give away. I mean, free stuff, guys. Knights pledges, awesome. Get access to the forums if you haven't already done so. So 1 week left, exactly. But anyways, with that, guys and gals, it's time for us to sign off and get back to our real lives, as much as I hate to do that, and keep you guys entertained. We gotta go. But remember, get some cool shirts from the VOT store, mugs and all that stuff. We got them. They are nice. They look great. So thanks for those guys and gals who have done it. We really appreciate your support and watching our show. Tell all your friends and all that stuff, and spread the word. Thanks a lot, guys. And we will catch you later. And remember, your adventure awaits in Terminus.